the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk call the roll.
Trustee Butterfield. Here. Trustee Martin. Trustee here. Mary Stephanie. Trustee McDaniel. Here. Trustee Stillman.
Here.
Trustee Lambert.
Here.
Trustee Michelle.
Here. Need a motion to approve the village board minutes, number 11.
I move to approve the village board minutes for September 11th.
Have a second, please.
All second.
See, is there any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carry village board meeting from November 25th. Approve those, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 25th, 2025.
All second.
Discussion on those. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Public comment provides 2-minute opportunity for citizens to voice their opinions to the village board. Those board cannot respond to meeting requirements. We have, Angelo. Angelo? Go ahead, sorry.
I'm here to oppose the change in zoning for the parcel of Angela Travis, 718 Temple Drive. I'm here to oppose the change in zoning on the parcel of land located on the northeast corner of 4 Mile and Erie from medium density residential to high density residential. The public hearing held on November 24th had 10 people speak against it and 1 person in favor. I was not able to attend that meeting, but I am here now to ask the village board to deny the requested zoning change. I have a petition signed by 36 people, residents, that are opposed to the zoning change, plus the 10 people at the meeting that were opposed to the change. The proposed 4-family, 3-bedroom apartments with single-car garages are not a good fit for the area on this end parcel of land. I urge the village board to deny the zoning change and keep this parcel of land medium density residential. And I have petition that
I'll take that, Angelo. Thank you very much, sir.
I do have one, I got a minute? And then, since I didn't get a chance,
Come on, back up the mic.
didn't get a chance, is there anybody else here that's opposed to this zoning change? If they could raise their hand so we could see, and there's a few more.
All right, thank you. Cynthia Dombrowski? Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here trying to liberate officer Cynthia Dombrowski, 129 Western Avenue. I'm here trying to resolve an issue since the Saputo building has been built across the street from where I live for 31 years. They are emanating a whirring, like a helicopter blade, that's coming across the field into our house. And I have 4 other neighbors that are experiencing the same thing. It is so intense, it's making the sun catchers on my windows rattle. My animals' ears won't flap back and they run and hide. It's so intense, it hurts your head and your ears. And I've had Natalia out with the sound detector. I bought my own sound detector, but she said that obviously for reasons theirs has to be the final reading. She said it's like 62 decibels is the limit. She's come to 57 so far. When it was medium intensity, I have got readings over 62 and higher at certain times because they cannot come out at night after the village is closed. She suggested I call the police. I had the police come out. They heard the noise. It wasn't as intense as it normally is, but I still wanted them to hear it. So when it got so bad later that evening, I called the police department back and they said, well, we can't help you anymore. We had an officer out there already, but we can't do anything else to help you. So now I'm trying to see, I have no idea if the residential, they can do something with their fans or their cooling unit, or they could put up a sound area. I don't know what could be done. but this is unbearable, it's intolerable, it's unreasonable for the people that are living there have to deal with this. If you had to live there and deal with it, nobody in this room would blame me for what I'm trying to do right now because it is horrible. 12900 on Western Avenue. Thank you.
Paul Evans, Egan, sorry. Okay. Good evening. Good evening.
I'm a little late getting home today. I was at the hospital, so
Oh my gosh.
pardon me. We'll get there. My name is Paul Egan. I live at 5034 Erie Street, and I oppose the project on the northeast corner of Erie and 4 Mile, as it is non-compliant for at least 3 different reasons. One is that the project presented did not include what the actual boundaries were, according to between county records. It includes plot for lots 14, 15, and part of 13 and 16. What parts? It's not shown on their drawings. There's a picture in your thing there, a graph. It's a scale model that shows the size of the property they intend to build, and the imprint on the lot is assumed to be the 14 to 15 lots, and it shows that the building is not in compliance. It's oversized. The Village of Caledonia has a home portal that I've been looking at, requires a minimum size, 1 bedroom, 2,500 square feet, 3,000 square feet for 2 units or more. This building only has 1,900 per unit, non-compliant. This is the same, it's a vector, the size of the unit is in one of your drawings. It says all the measurements. I took off of the certified survey from the county. And my cohort will come up and help now.
I'm Susan Willing, 5027 Erie Street. We live, 2 houses away, 7 houses away from the old building. Another issue is that parking spaces identified in the applicant's drawings were not compliant with code. Code requires 2 spaces. The outside parking is typically for guests or other family members or even self-family living there to have a safe place to park vehicles. And this required space is not there for 1 car. So this is non-compliant. So Paul has indicated 2 and I've indicated 1. That's 3 items that we believe are non-compliant with the village code, and we are therefore asking you to reject the application. I will say that still, my biggest concern of all is safety on this corner. It is absolutely an issue. I don't care what traffic report numbers say. All you need to do is pull up a chair and sit close to Erie Street and watch the traffic both ways, with Erie Street and 4 Mile Road being that narrow, and having potentially the average family usually has 2 cars, a 3-bedroom unit. There could be potentially 8 cars there without guests. And exiting onto Erie Street during rush hour, frankly, anytime, is like, I'm honestly afraid that we're going to have a serious accident on that corner. So that's my major concern. Thank you for your consideration of our request. We appreciate it.
Susan, can I answer your address?
5027 Erie Street.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to address the village board? seeing none, we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. Thank you, everyone, for the comments. So, 6A, ordinance 2025-15, will amend title 12, chapter 1, related to parks and recreational, and specifically park regulations, and to repeal title 12, chapter 2, related to East Side Community Center. This went through the planning commission, I'm sorry, parks, 11/11/25, and through committee of the whole, 11/25, 6 of. I have a motion on the second.
You can, I make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-15.
I'll second it.
And thank Ryan for all the work.
I'll second it.
Okay, so any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Guess we really need it. Okay, ordinance 2025-16, copy and amendment to the multi-use jurisdictional comprehensive plan for City County 2035. Those guidelines, section 13 to, the village code of ordinance by creating section 13 Z, adding amendment to the village comprehensive plan, affecting the parcel located in the northeast corner of Walnut Road and Erie Street, parcel number 104-04-2321-321-000, half an acre or less from Lady Booty, then residential Agnes. John, 4 acres. Motion on the second. I'll go ahead and make a motion.
We're not able to see anything on it.
No, we do a motion, then we can talk about it. Okay, so what would we like to talk about? Holly?
I'd like to see it. The only reason that we seconded and asked for it is so that we can hear what this is about. We can't do that unless we approve the motion, talk about it. So, if that makes sense. Their role's not. So, I would like to hear about what this is about.
Mr. Wagner, can you enlighten us, please?
They're not on? Is it dead? 2 probably. Yeah, it's unmuted. It's unmuted. It's dead. 4? There. Yep. There we go. Yep. It's not muted. There we go. That's why.
Thank you, Mr. President. Up on the screen is the location map of the north. Trying to zoom in so it's more readable. Like, see my cursor is highlighted in red is the area that is up for discussion. It's approximately a half acre. Currently, the site is zoned RD1, which is two-family residential, and the land use category is medium density residential. The property owner is requesting a land use amendment, which is not a zoning change at this point, but the land use category on our comprehensive plan, land use plan map. And right now, it's currently set at medium density residential. The applicant's asking for high density residential, so they can come back and eventually requesting a rezone RM1 to allow for a building that has more than 2 units. In this case, it's going to be 4. And that way they could meet the requirements of the residential for setbacks and density for the site. As any applicant or property owner has the right, they have the right to make a request to change the land use category. And in this particular case, they're looking for a high density. This is an intersection of the village that has commercial on the northwest corner. There's a gasoline station. Directly to the south is also zoned commercial, which previously, if you were on the board at the time, was a Dollar General that was proposed there. That did not occur. And then on the southwest corner was a commercial development for a Tony Chuck's restaurant and some office space, which is right now idle, as you may already be well aware of. And so staff has reviewed the request and believe that this is a suitable use for this corner. Staff has looked at traffic impacts on what is going on over here. To the north, about a half mile, is a 93-unit condominium complex. And there was a TIA talking about this intersection. At that time, there was no concerns regarding traffic impact when it comes to the functionality of that intersection. So tonight, before you, there's a request by the applicant to change the land use category. Tonight, there was testimony by residents regarding the non-compliance of the proposed building. The proposed building that was provided as part of the land use request was a concept plan, and there were no dimensions that were supplied. There was not a site plan. This was a concept of how they would want to lay out the building on the particular site. They have to work with staff on easements, on parking, on driveway access, all of that before they can get a building permit. At this point, this is strictly changing the land use category on the map, which will then followed by a rezoning to RM1 request, which will probably happen either in January or February, which requires a public hearing. At that time, the applicant is aware that they're going to need to provide more details on it, but it's still an entitlement process, not a site plan. You're not going to get all the details that the site plan requires, but before an applicant would invest money into the details of a construction project, first steps are the entitlement. And with that, I turn that back over to you, Mr. President.
Okay, so on the board, is there a question?
I do also whisper the thing.
David?
I understand that these applicants are really going to get their concept plan. This is changing the land use plan. They don't have it. They hope it's both to change the land use plan. What else?
It would the amount of land that is there, it could not exceed 4-unit complex. So that would be the largest that could go there if this particular property owner were to sell the land. That there's another potential 4-unit apartment building could be constructed on there if the land use and the rezone are approved.
So this is always my problem with this because we change the land use plan with the assumption that things can go through. That is no one. That is not the case. We change the land use plan, we change the zoning, that sits there and what we thought may be a nice project. So I think that these people look very carefully at it. I understand that it's a concept, but it seems to me that it doesn't make sense to go ahead doing a land use change when the concept plan itself, if in fact it's not compliant, then when we change it, at least people won't be able to do what they want. And then they're out.
This did come before planning, so we had some discussion there. If I remember correctly, these other 3 corners are all B1.
Currently, the zoning is B1, yes.
So on that other corner, which we call the old Dollar General, the bottom, since that is a B1, and that be utilized as high density commercial apartment, would that be forbidden?
High density. Say that again?
On the lot, it would have,
Yeah.
okay. Even though it's B1 now,
Yes.
Can that be utilized in a way that would allow the building high-rise apartments on that land? Which would be is across the street.
Right. Bring up the land
Like
use.
this.
The land use map for that area is actually medium density residential. The zoning is currently B1. That was prior to the comprehensive plan being adopted. That's why there's an inconsistency with the zoning in the land use category. If there were to be a rezoning to this, for that particular parcel, which is really not up for discussion for tonight, but to play out the scenario, in response to your question, they would have to ask for a land use map amendment for high density as well. And they would have to meet the height restrictions, which in the RN1 is 35 feet in height. And in our single family residential districts, the maximum height for single family residential is 35 feet. So you would answer your question, though, you could not get a high rise apartment if it were to be switched to RN1 designation.
Okay, but since this is medium density across the street, and if we approve this high density, this 4 unit, we've got medium density across, then we, guess I'm following what Fran's doing, we may be opening a gate. I'm chuckling, this is a concept plan, but when you look at the upstairs part of the concept plan, the bedrooms are smaller than most horse stalls. So we're giving our 4-legged creatures bigger bedrooms, which is just, and that's without bed kind of thing. Pete, when you look at, again, I know it's a concept plan, but looking it through and looking at it going to 4 from 2, can you say with a degree of probability, and I know it's not an absolute, that what they are presenting in concept would reasonably pass through our ordinances for construction?
If they meet the setbacks, yeah, I mean, they didn't provide a site plan, so to answer that question, I don't have enough information to give you that answer. The applicant is well aware that the setback requirements are, they're well aware of the driveway access points. One of the concepts showed 4 driveways, and we explained to the applicant that is a non-starter. That's not possible that close to the intersection. And so they showed a second one in the packet that talked about a possible horseshoe shape. And so we didn't say necessarily no, but we also said yes, because it may have to be a sort of frontage that funnels would drive to the very northwest corner. So all the units would actually be using the same exit point. So those details are fleshed out at the building site operation level. But I cannot tell you that building is going to be compliant or not. The applicant is very cognizant of the fact that they need to comply with those setbacks, and that it should have to meet those requirements before any building permit, regardless of the zoning goes in. If they can't meet it, maybe it's a 3-unit building, which I've never seen a 3-unit apartment building, but it could be a possibility. I mean, if they can work it, they meet the dimensional requirements, meet the product that they can sell. So, if they have a horse stall bedroom, that is their prerogative. I do not. I do not regulate how much space a bedroom has to be. Building inspection will talk about light, size, closets, all that good stuff, but that is something that is under construction, under review of the building inspection.
Thanks. Does it make any difference if these are being built as on a condo format as apartments? When the young men were before us on planning, they said their intent of constructing this was that they would be styled as built as condos, because right now the condo market is not a good place to be. And these would be apartments, but with the intent and understanding they could be transferred over to condos at a later time. Going down to 3 units wouldn't really create a problem, would it?
The 3 units to the ownership question, is that what you're trying to connect?
No, these young men very clearly said, we'd have liked condos, but the condo market just won't hold right now. That's okay. But they would build these units as if they were condos, which generally will get you a little different, better construction, better overall feeling, and that should the condo market change, they would be willing to look at and interested in looking at selling these condos, even after they've been made apartments.
I do recall them making.
Right. So if we go down to 3 units, if we have to go down to 3 units, then it's not unusual necessarily to see a 3-unit condo. Right.
Oh, definitely not. for example, you're familiar with that, there's multiple, condominium associations embedded in there, and they're two-unit condos. So you can have a two-unit condo association, and that's very common, in this area.
Colleen, do you have a question?
No, more of a statement. We all know, and I know the board and the community knows I'm all about building and people being able to sell their lots for the betterment of the community and building, but I just don't think it's gonna work. I don't like it. I think it's too much occupancy on that small little parcel of land on a very busy corner. And I'm sure they'll be nice. I'm sure they'll look nice. It'll help the value, I'm sure, but I don't think on a busy lot like that, a busy corner like that, on only a half acre to stick 4 families and 8 to 10 cars, or I don't know. That's just how I feel. So.
Mr. Washington?
Well, Holly, you stole my thunder.
Sorry.
That she agreed.
Oh. I'll write that down.
When I look at the map here, you know, low density, medium density in the entire area, there is a commercial lot across the street, I get that. But the rest of the area is primarily low to medium density from what I see here. And I don't think this is a good idea. It almost borders on spot zoning to me. I know I'm not a planner, but that's what it looks like to me. All of a sudden, pop in a very high density spot here, in the medium to low density area. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think that is covered, but I don't have anything that says. That would be the motion. Right. So, the motion is to approve. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say aye.
Nay.
Nay.
Nay. I nay.
Okay, resolution 2025-97, approving the building site and replacement plan to construct an 8,064 foot industrial building and also located on the north of 4005 Fifth Drive. Second, the Franksville Industrial Park. Dominic Investments LLC owner, Nathan Remits applicant. This went through the planning commission, was approved 7-0 on 11/24. No motion on this side.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-09.
Dale, you want to make a
I'll
second?
second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Resolution carries. Resolution 2025-98, appointing election inspectors for the 2026-2027 election cycle. Any motion on this item?
Motion to approve
Second.
I'll second it.
Dale, any discussion on this item?
Who are we appointing? It's one bill. That's all of our current elected officials, plus the political party nominations for the next year. So how does the appointment then work? All those people, well, they're all appointed so they're able to work. Schedule as necessary. Yeah. It's your.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, resolution 2025-099, authorizing the village to dominate contract with Racine County Development Corporation for economic development technical assistance for 2026 as a renewal of the current contract. Have a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-09. I'll second it.
Dale, thank you. Any discussion on this motion?
Well, she's here.
Laura, would you like to?
Walk through what's included and what changes have been made.
Very good, thank you.
So, just as a reminder, RCDC provides support to the village for economic development services. Contract outlines, our services specific as it relates to our strategic plan. And it really just outlines what we do. projects assigned to us from the village. So in terms of adjustments that we've made, the priority one focuses on attraction of new businesses, and development to the community. The adjustments we've made here very much still focus on industrial development and residential development. On the industrial development side, we've made some adjustments in the language to be clear on what we're doing in terms of proactive outreach, as well as reactive, and the targets that we have. And then residential development, 2025, we were more focused on looking at what other communities are doing to attract and support new housing development in their communities. As we move forward in 2026, we're working very closely with the county as they start a working committee process to develop strategies to address the issues we're identified in the 2024 housing study. There were additional performance measures that were added specific to this section, just to make sure that we're clear on what we're doing. And priority two, it's really focused on supporting our existing businesses, which is really an important part of our work, and being able to connect existing businesses with financial and technical resources to expand and remain an important part of our community. No changes there under the entrepreneurship and startup section. Priority two, we made some just adjustments just to say that we're continuing the START program, which really focuses on serving our entrepreneurs as opposed to getting it up and running. So just some minor tweaks in that language. The other thing is we added a note that we are going to continue to are looking for further support to support our entrepreneurship work and working with our partners within Southeast Wisconsin. Area three priority focuses on talent attraction, really showcasing Merced County as a great place to live and work. That continues to be focused on our work on greatermercecounty.com. We've added, the effort of seeking additional funding for this effort, and also continuing to work with our higher ed as well as our school districts on making sure that our young talent are aware of job opportunities remaining in Merced County. In terms of our priority area four, that is more internal to our CEDC, but I think it's important for you all to know we continue to make sure that we are relevant, our programming is relevant, that we are evaluating support that we're providing to our communities, as well as making sure that we're working across organizations to provide support around economic development. So no real changes there. Under the special projects, they remain the same as 2025, which includes recruitment to Highway K and the Caledonia Business Park, supporting recruitment to key sites such as Douglas Avenue, supporting and providing input on the comprehensive plan for economic development, and then monitoring project implementation and compliance for current development agreements. Total cost is $50,000 for the 2026 year. So I'm going to open it up for you.
Because you looked at that at one point, and I think we would agree with that would get in place. It should be attractive, but easy access to the high.
I mean, there certainly is interest. I mean, if you start looking at Mount Pleasant, you're seeing additional development along the Spring Street corridor. I think what we're going to see is probably more interest as you get more concentration and development around the business parks. So I would expect some of that's going to come with actual capital resources online, but we continue to have developers look for opportunities within the area. And part of what our work will continue to be is making sure that we're in lockstep with where those opportunities are to be able to showcase that.
Okay, I mean, I do an addition. I like everything about it. Very much doing, but I do have a problem with residential in general because as you know, during the data center discussions, we pointed out among other things that we're very skewed towards residential, too reliant on residential. Not commercial. I understand that the data center. I'm sure that we wanted it and say like, oh, there's goes and choose them different. But nevertheless, you recognize that we're overly reliant commercial development, if any of our kids were successful, any of them, wonderful. But so far, commercial development is lagging. Adding is residential development.
Yes, so it's, you know, if we could pick what we wanted to do, we do that all day long, right? We try to make sure that we're balanced, but we don't always have control over what development is coming forward. So we continue to work with the village to figure out what is best. So when there's an opportunity, we'll bring that forward, continue to work with staff, but, you know, we're not always in control of what opportunities come forward. On the residential side, I will just say, we continue to see just challenges of needing to have more people in the community to be able to support the businesses here, especially as people are retiring. And so that's one of the reasons for the housing study, to be able to support, you know, the talent that needs to be here and retention of our young people in the community, so we can continue to be relevant and drive.
And if you could, how can Kmart development be commercial? And I agree with that, because housing and business, that's terrific. It's added on to this. Because we're skewed already. And that was an additional burden on the homeowners.
Okay. Is the 50,000 an increase over last year? So, under your item A in special projects, when you talk about highway pay, this is TID 4 for us.
TID 4 and 101.
TID 3, yeah, goes over on the other thing. So when we were looking at our TIDs for assessments fairly recently, a lot of our expenses for RCEDC are being pushed into calculated under those TIDs. You know, quite frankly, unfortunately, at this point, we don't have any positive performing TIDs. I know 3 could be sitting in there somewhere, but not really close. The one thing that's not on your special projects and that you didn't mention, it's always been a curiosity or a question for me, and it's now coming in, it's called Mark Rail, which is the rail line. You know, said it before and I'll keep saying it, that depot or station came through here in Caledonia has been talked about for years. It would hugely change this area. It would be the exact thing that the Kmart development could go along with. Are you all involved in those discussions and those meetings on our behalf? Okay. Thank you.
All right, the motion is to approve the contract.
With the 7% increase.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is done. Thank you. And thank you, Laura, for being here. Resolution 2025-100, approving the Village Caledonia 2026 wage scale.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-100.
I'll second
I only have one question.
Go ahead,
Didn't we do this last year?
whatever you're.
It happened every year. I just checking in my head.
Yeah, we're good. So with the wage scale, we did the 3.5% for cost of living. So that's where it will happen every year with whatever that increases. Correct.
Okay, motion is second.
Wait.
Quick question.
Sorry.
The 3.5% increase across the board in all categories, correct?
Correct.
Want to be sure.
Yep.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There is resolution 2025-101, authorize the Village Caledonia. There's a whole mess of these all eight. Do you want to just brief us on all of them at once, or?
Sure.
Would you mind doing that?
Resolution 101 through 106 are for the Turtle Creek project. This is a restoration project that we are looking at doing in conjunction with Roof Hike Inn. We currently have 10 of the 16 required easements. These are 6 of them. We did, I believe, 3 at the last one, and then there's one coming in January. Yet, and the remaining easements are still under negotiation. We would recommend approval for all 6 of these easements going forward.
Can I make a resolution to include all of them?
Hold on, you got one more, 107, what do you want to talk about that?
I was gonna talk about that one separately.
All right, that's fine. You want to make a motion to unanimously approve all permits?
Unless if we had a piece of the agenda, we
We
could
can-
do them all at once.
Can we do that even?
Yes, the board could pass a motion, to take all of those items together if you were so inclined. And then you could pass a subsequent motion, then approving all of those items together. So that would be items numbers
100 or 106.
101.
101 through 106.
Right, but it's the items on the agenda, 6F through,
No, just through,
I'm sorry, G through L. Yes, if you want to take all of those together, you just need to pass that initial motion, and then the second motion would be to approve all of those.
I will make a motion to approve items.
No, first,
What do we think? Oh,
That's where I'm going.
Yes, it would be a,
I'll do it.
right.
I make a motion to consolidate items 6 G through L.
I'll second.
Thank you, Fran. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve resolutions 2025-100 through 2025-106.
Our second, please.
I'll second.
Mr. President, just to confirm that, resolutions 2025-100 through 2025-106 are items. 101. Nancy said 100. Oh, okay, 101 through 106.
Write it.
Is item, represent items 6G through L. Or is that your motion? Yeah. Is that acceptable to the seconder?
Bill, is that?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
We got the legal stuff on?
You got it.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you, that carries. Resolution 2025-107, owning to make it.
This one is for Franksville Storage. They are a business that is moved within the Caledonia Industrial Park. They are installing a stormwater management pond, part of the measuring and drainage plan approved by the utility district. This easement encompasses that pond and was required by the district. We would recommend approval.
Move to approve resolution 2025-107.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Resolution 2025-108, Village of Caledonia enter into a special litigation council agreement with law firm of Worth and Baynard. That was second, first.
Can we have an explanation?
So we have
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-108.
a motion and a second. And Fran would like an explanation. Elaine, would you mind?
Yes, Mr. President. We are recommending that the village engage special litigation counsel, specifically Worth and Vineyard, to assist the village in enforcing the agreement that the village has with Mr. Janikowski for the destruction of the dog that we previously have discussed. So we are very busy, as you know, and we have done less and less litigation over the years. And this firm has assisted us in the past, specifically related to dog cases, so they're already familiar with your code. And we were really happy with how they helped us the last time. So we're recommending that we engage them, because at this point, the dog has not been presented to the village, so we need to locate that dog.
Because I thought
He has agreed, but he has not produced the dog, and the marching orders from the board where we need to enforce that agreements for the public safety sake.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to AP checks. Mr. Wishaw, if you don't mind.
Mr. President, I went over the invoices this afternoon in great bloody detail. I do have a couple of questions, but I'd like to stop in and talk to Wayne about it, in the next couple of days. I don't have a problem, just something I want to clarify. But I will move to approve AP checks in the amount of, in the total here, we're gonna do it. I got it right here. There's $748,537.08.
Glad you're on top of it.
Yeah, I got two lists here, too many.
I'll second that.
That's the first one.
Well,
Yeah.
any other discussion?
Is that the one you and I were discussing? Or the items on you and I were discussing? Okay. So yes, I did ask you questions. And again, I think Wayne can probably answer, but I noticed we have $600 to network specialist for water and sewer. And we also have, OnTech. So I was wondering why we're having two different services that can be figured out. And then there's some questions I also had on the ECAS law firm billings, but I think we can answer that in discussions, correct? So yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Tony can address
I can address the OnTech, network specialist. So when the utility district had their offices over at the building, 4.5 mile road, they switched from a server setup to a online server, virtual server, through called Office Anywhere through Network Specialist. We have been working with OnTech to get that switched over from that virtual cloud server to get that onto our server here at the village hall. Unfortunately, there is a $600 cost per month for having that Office Anywhere server. So we are working toward getting that eliminated.
The contractual issue in part with network specialists that we have to clear out of the
There's
contract.
an annual contract.
So we have to get to the end of the contract before we can.
No, we can get out at any time. Been in it for too long.
Okay, we're just saying wiggle.
Right. So we have a motion to approve AP checks in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Checks are approved, thank you. New business B, 7B, discussions of methods of administrator and or staff sharing information, existing documents relating to ongoing village matters with any or all trustees and for the removal of formal practice of administrator's report. Todd, did you want to lead off on this?
I don't have anything. This was brought forward by trustee Martin and trustee Coe.
Okay.
This arises out of my frustration, I guess, with it and trying to figure out what we can do with the constraints of the records law, because it was very useful for this administrator's report, but I understand plain that we can't do that because it's too general enforcement or whatever. This is not a critique at all. He's very willing, if you call him, ask him, whatever, but that's a very inefficient way. It seems to me the board information. I might have one question. Maybe Nancy has the same question. Maybe Mike has the same question for each of us. As I understand it, Ben communicated with God, but we can't do it somehow collectively. So I just find that thing sort of frustrating. For example, what we might have discussed in the previous administrator's report, let's say, we had an issue with this storage shop, the garage in Williams. We could have, an administrative report would give us an update on that. But that wasn't possible. I know what it is because I called upon and asked them about it. What I'm saying though is that the whole board doesn't. Now, there are other items, for example, the status of storage building, records removal. There's all these little items, the status of developments in TID 5, TID 4. So really what I'm asking is, isn't there something we can do so that we we can have some general routine without any itemized very specifically each single thing. I think it just takes too much of time for each of us to ask possibly the same question.
Mr. President, may I respond, or would you like
Yes.
to hear from trustee Pierce first? Okay. Just regarding the administrator's report, the concerns about having a blanket administrator's report on your agenda is not that there couldn't be a very brief outward flow of a few points from the administrator to the board for information only without any significant discussion. What we are running into is that under the administrative report, several things were being discussed and there was a back and forth, which is good for the board to hear that information, but your open meetings laws require you to place things on the agenda that are going to be talked about at that meeting. So that was the concern, that you were going to be running afoul of the open meetings laws. So I recommended, if you're going to have an administrator's report and there were specific requests for more than just a couple of pieces of information of flow directly from the administrator to the board that wanted discussion, those items could be individually listed under an administrator's report. So if there was a request for an update on something and two trustees, for example, wanted to hear from the administrator, you could easily have requested to have that itemized underneath an administrator's report. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Second, so that was my concern about the length of the discussions that were happening under the administrator's report. Secondly, some communities do have a written administrator's report that's a part of a packet. And if that's something that the board is requesting, you could certainly request that of your administrator and ask, set the parameters of what you want to hear about as a part of that report. And I think Todd probably has a couple comments related to an administrator's report function that he was doing and feedback that he received from the board or individual board members. So, but that's my concern about having a lengthy discussion items under the administrative report when you haven't noticed it up on your agenda and given notice to the public.
Okay, just in the practical, so if the administrator's report is listed and then at least one specific discussion, you wouldn't know that.
Well, you might have to put it on the next meeting, and if you're aware of something you would like information on, you can make that request before, in accordance with your ordinance, before the agenda is posted. So you could do that, or it would have to wait until the next meeting. And you could specifically, if you received that as a part of a packet, you could say at that point in time, Mr. President, I would really like to have a discussion or get more information on this. Can we put this on the next agenda as an itemized topic under an administrator's report? So you could do that as well. And the important facet is not to run afoul of those open meetings laws that we all value. So, and that you need to comply with. So that's, I guess, my input on that point. And if the board wants to have that on the agenda, some parameters about how to discuss it. You could, and my recommendation is that you itemize information under that line item on your agenda. If you want to talk about 3 different things, you list them to give notice to the public that you're going to be talking about those things.
Right, but when Todd does it, we don't know what he's going to talk about. We don't know what the administrative work is going to be until it's out.
Then you don't have time to notice that.
Well, that's a constraint of the open meetings law. So if you want to set a different parameter, I don't know, and Todd may have some ideas. Maybe you could have a request of your administrator that says, a week before the meeting, we'd like a administrator's report, or once a month on this date, and then that would allow you time to react in order to make a request into your clerk's office to have something actually listed on the agenda in case you have further questions or want to have a discussion on it. But I'm going to turn that over to Todd because that part's a policy and administrative piece that's a little bit beyond.
Right, and I'm not trying to make it more burdensome. What I'm trying to do is get what seems to be an efficient way of sharing.
I think if there's things that you would like to discuss under the administrator's report, I mean, fairly accessible. I think you could send me an email or stop in, call me and say, I would like to talk about this. You know, it'd be similar to placing an item on the agenda or, you know, discussions we've had about, you know, even items for future agenda. You could certainly, I mean, I don't know how much of a time frame, but it seems like you have a list of items.
Oh, I just take those out as.
Well, correct.
As an illustration, what could be there, not things that I desperately need to get done right now, but the kind of things that might have done in an information to the full board. Not, I get that I can call you and make yourself very accessible. And I'm not faulting you at all for that. I'm just saying for the whole board to know what information is available.
If I can pop in for just a second. I mean, I hear what Elaine is saying, understand it from a legal perspective, I hear what Fran's saying. When Todd first came, he did an excellent job of just kind of sending out a general memo. Here's what's going on in the village, just keeping you informed. That's, I think, the general purpose of what we're really getting at, because what we don't know that we don't know. That's the biggest issue. And now going back to Elaine, where we say, if Todd sends a memo out, well, we'll pick on the second week of the month, or the off week, and says, I'm just updating you. One, that lets every board member be aware of what's going on in the village. Two, if they have a question, they can reach out, one, to Todd direct. If they feel like it's something that might be in conjunction with Todd that needs to be discussed at the full board, there's the process to put it on the agenda for open meeting discussion. I think that's the primary discussion goal and part. So that, because I don't know to come in to Todd's office if it's something I don't even know I'm aware that's going on.
So, and I would say, and what Elaine was referring to before we discussed this matter before the meeting today, in those reports that I was sending out on a bi-weekly or month-to-month basis, some of the feedback that I got was they were too long, too much information, and weren't necessarily being read completely. So,
How many of those people are? I'll think I'm kind of with you.
So I guess in lieu of that, I'm happy to continue to do that practice or reinstate doing that practice. But what I would like from the board is some direction as to what are the things that you want to know. I mean, do you want to know that we're working on easements for Turtle Creek, or do you want to know, like, is it just development related? Is it economic development related? Is it finance related? You know, there's multiple facets to village government, and I can cover all topics and everything that I deal with on day-to-day or week-to-week or month-to-month basis. But that's a lot of information. And so instead of, what I don't want to do is spend a lot of time drafting up something that doesn't really that you're not really interested. I'd rather have an idea of what it is you're looking for and produce that. I'm happy to send that on a weekly basis. Doesn't bother me, and it doesn't take that much time on Friday and before I leave to send out an email or type it up on Saturday and send it to you whenever. That's not an issue. For me, it's going to be more of what is the information, what's the important item. We all know the hot button items or the items that are going to be potentially somewhat controversial. But outside of that, I'm not quite sure what each one of you individuals is looking for. You all have your own little special things.
In my case, I was thinking of, it's my category of for example, maybe some developers to show Kmart recent things that wouldn't don't ask to know because I don't know. It's necessary.
Okay, I'll plead guilty on this one. This started, long ago when I first got on board, still had hair. Things were happening and since we're just here part-time. None of you really report to us in real sense. You do what you don't, you know what I mean? So when I'm at work, I've got 12 people that report to me. I know exactly what's going on with all of them. I don't really know here. So I requested years ago with Tom Lebeck when he was here, I said, Tom, could you just send out a weekly update? Just 5 or 10 bullet points. Don't spend more than a few minutes. I work out here, but just say things that we might be interested in, as example. Hey, by the way, we got good news. We got somebody interested in one of the spots in our business park. There'll be more discussion at a meeting. That sort of thing, just so we're kept abreast of the high level stuff. Like I said, I don't want to make a lot of work out of it, and I wouldn't get intent at all. But that weekly update we did through all of the administrators, Tom Christensen. I don't know if Kathy was doing it, a little bit she did. But again, it was just a high level update. It wasn't to spur discussion amongst us unless we wanted to put something on the agenda later. All of
So I was gonna say the same thing, like if we got bullet points. That's enough to lead us, if there's more questions, we can go directly talk.
And I'm perfectly fine with, it's great if we have some ideas, but I look to Todd, he's got to stand on the pulse every day. That if there's 10 things that right now are rising to the higher level, and I'll use the Turtle Creek easement. You know, just put one line in there because you want, let's just let another easement to Turtle Creek. So what you were doing before was so thorough that you did, it was beautiful, but you're right, it took a lot of your time and it got to be a lot on this side. So give us the highlights that you see important. If you hear somebody saying, I want you to always tell me about X or Y, fine, but let it create conversation if it needs to with you and that party, and y'all can decide should it come up to a board level discussion or it may be just enough right there. That makes sense, Mr. Tom?
What number mic is that? The podium. Oh, what's the floor mic?
It's not.
Not on here.
I got it.
That's something that interferes with the speaker. Okay, so where are we at? Do we want to ask Todd to give us some bullets? Monthly basis?
Could we ask Todd to put together a sample of what he thinks would make good sense?
Sure.
I mean, let him guide us a little bit.
I can grab something, yeah, it's something at the end of the week, where we're at, where we're at.
That would be fine, and again, not intended to put additional burdens on you.
And is everybody comfortable if he keeps it to once a month, or do we want once a month?
I think once a month.
Yeah. We'll work out 50% of once a month.
I'd be happy to start that once a month if you guys want more, or bi-weekly, or whatever it is, we can always have that conversation.
Okay, and if I get that, what's happening with what's not.
Thank you, everybody, and Todd, thank you.
one more comment? I'm sorry. Here's an example of something I like to see. About a month ago, right before I went on a trip, I was going through the invoices, and there was one on there for a server that was in our new public safety building that had been apparently destroyed by water coming off of our HPC. When and if we get that replaced, I would like to say, okay, we got a new server over there, and by the way, the contractor paid for it. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for. So when I see another bill come through, or I don't see a bill come through for a server, I'm always going to wonder, well, whatever happened?
Understood.
Make sense? Yep. That's a simple, very simple one, but that's the kind of thing I like.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Okay, if we're going into a closed session, I want the public to know that we're gonna have to go out in the lobby and wait for us. It may be a little lengthy, so bear with us. So we're gonna take up a motion for going into a closed session, pursuant to 19.851C. considering employment promotion, compensation, and performance evaluation of a public employee over which government body exercise responsibility, specifically the administrator.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Second, thank you.
Trustee Martin. Trustee McNabb. Stillman. Trustee Shaw. Trustee Lemon. Trustee Campbell.
We're open, we are adjourned. We will start to be.